the idea of doing something, making a movie that relied on stuff like this was preposterous. I mean, it almost didn't work. They talked about how, like, at one point Lucas had showed up to the studio where they were supposed to be working on the ships, and like they didn't have like anything usable. They had like stuff was like half finished. They had these shots that were terrible, and he was just like, "Wow, okay, like I don't know what to do now."
Audience, welcome back to Core Memory, a podcast about movies. I'm your host, Cortney Warner, and this week we are joined by author, writer, father, overall very cool person, and longtime friend of mine too, Matt Brown. Woo! Oh my goodness, Matt! We were just talking about this before we hit record. It's been years since we've seen each other in the flesh like this.
Yeah, we worked together,
Mhm.
and I left. I moved away in 2018.
That must have been the last time
I
wow.
think,
That's
yeah,
pre-COVID too. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. But it's been great. I'm glad we've kept in touch
Me too.
over that time. There's still there's a few people that I still keep in touch with from that time, but like I don't think I talk with anyone's like keeping up with like anything professional as I have with like all your stuff.
Yeah, likewise too.
It's awesome.
I'm always interested in what you got going on and what you're writing and stuff. And yeah, I mean Trader Joe's, what a time for all of us. Trader Joe's in Nashville, I should say specifically. I can't speak for all Trader Joe's. But I think I mean I'm still really close to a lot of people from that time too, from Trader Joe's. So there's something to be said about that too. So but anyway, tonight, Matt, the movies that he brought tonight, the first movie he remembers seeing is The Lion King, a classic, and his favorite movie, possibly one of the most iconic movies ever made, is Star Wars: A New Hope. What a cool combo of movies! I'm super stoked. I got to rewatch both of them today, and I'm like, these are still fantastic movies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, no, but like what it's one of those things where like what else really needs to be said? Uh
Honestly, we can wax poetic about it. We're gonna do our best, but so we're gonna start off with your first movie, so Lion King, and then audience, for some quick stats, came out in 1994, adapted from Hamlet, which I think most people know this at this point, but in case you didn't, starring an insane voice cast of James Earl Jones, Matthew Broderick, Jeremy Irons, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas as a young Simba. Just
yeah.
and so many other people in that movie too, but like absolutely fantastic, fantastically stacked cast of just Disney at
Cheech
its best.
Marin.
Yes.
Cheech Marin.
And
Whoopi
then
Goldberg.
yeah, oh that's right. So can you just kind of describe to me the first time you saw this movie?
Yeah, I just very vaguely remembered like being in a movie theater, and like anytime I try to reach back, uh that's just always like kind of like in like being kind of like a smaller kind of theater.
Hmm.
Um and uh yeah, for some the memory in my memory, I always remember specifically it's the part where it's this right at the part where Simba like meets Rafiki,
Hmm.
like it's nighttime, and then
Yeah.
they go chasing each other. He goes chasing him and then sees his father and all. That's the scene that I always remember specifically from uh my first viewing in the movie theater.
That's
Uh,
amazing. Do you remember how old you were?
well, let's see. So if it was 1994, then I must have been around 3. But also, it's hard to I nowadays, movies are in the theater for like what, a
Yeah.
month and a half, maybe. And then back when we were younger, it was still very normal for like, oh yeah, the movie is in theater for like 3 months.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think they even did a thing for Lion King where they like put it back in the
Yeah.
theater, or like, so it could have been even a little later than that. But
Hmm.
yeah, I could see myself being like 4 years old, 3 or 4
Yeah.
years old.
That's incredible,
Uh,
and, like, what a good memory too. I don't think I don't even know what I was doing at age 3. So, that's
uh,
awesome.
maybe better off that way.
Yeah, I think there's some things I think the brain protects you for certain reasons.
For sure, for
Uh,
sure.
how do you think The Lion King, it would being the first movie that you remember seeing, how do you think it kinda shapes you as a kid and into an adult? Are there any kind of themes that, like, you've maybe consciously or subconsciously taken? Because there's a lot going on in that movie, you know?
Oh, yeah. I think the thing I tend to think of now, and maybe it's just because of the English major background, but I always
Mhm.
think of the fact that it's a retelling of Hamlet.
Yeah.
Uh, like, I think that, and I always like looking at like things like West Side Story
Mhm.
or anything that is basically a like a retelling, which is actually kind of funny since the sequel to Lion King is Romeo and Juliet.
That's
Uh,
right.
yeah. So it's like they did a twofer there.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like looking at it from that perspective. I mean, you can look at it from a myriad of other ways. That's just the one that I always tend to, and finding the parallels between the two. Um, some like more obvious than others.
Yeah. No, I think I mean, all that whole Disney Renaissance era, all those movies are so good, but, like, I think Lion King is probably considered, like, the best one, you know? Or maybe
Yeah,
Beauty and the Beast, but
I
kinda
don't.
up there.
I think it's really hard. I mean, plenty of people will tell you, if they said pick your favorite Disney Renaissance movie, and like pretty much all of them are very valid picks. I think the only one that hasn't aged very well is Pocahontas.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Oh god, yeah.
which there's still a lot that's really that movie has beautiful animation.
Mhm.
Like I think the music is really good. Uh, there's just I remember I was talking to someone where they were talking about live action Disney remakes, and
Mhm.
I was like, man, if Disney wants to remake their movies, I want to see them have the balls to
Mhm.
do either Hunchback of Notre Dame
Yes.
or do Pocahontas, but like try to do it right.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could still do a live action Pocahontas and make her a child.
Mhm.
Don't make John Smith romantic.
Yeah.
You can do the like, oh yeah, like we're two different people, but make it so that the white men are like actually like, oh yeah, no, we're like we actually are fucking things up here.
Yeah, no.
Like, and you can still have the music too, and the music would
Yes.
still you could get a child to sing Colors of the Wind,
Oh my
totally.
god. Yeah, absolutely.
But
Pluck any kid off Broadway, you know what I mean? And they're
yeah.
ready to go. Um,
But anyway, I think that Lion one of the biggest things about Lion King, because it's the music, you can't really talk about Disney movies without talking about the music.
mhm.
Uh, and I think Lion King is a case of where this is a soundtrack with no weak points whatsoever. I feel like there are a lot of other Disney movies, even in the Renaissance era, where you
Mhm.
could say like, oh yeah, that one song is not as good,
Yeah.
not bad, but not as good. And I don't think there is one in here. I think they're
I
all
agree.
fantastic. Uh, and also the score. It's Hans Zimmer.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Oh my god, that's right. It's Hans Zimmer. That's
It is.
great. Man, that's crazy. I mean, it definitely I mean, yeah, there's yeah, there like you said, there's no song, there's no weak song, the score, the imagery, all of it. It's so like it's so grand. You know what I mean? I feel like speaking of Pocahontas too, isn't that like the story where it's like the A team at Disney was working on Pocahontas and the B team was doing the Lion King or something like that at the same time? So like
It might have been.
second string was working on Lion King, which that's crazy, you know?
Yes. I mean, it's always when you look into behind the scenes like that, because obviously they were putting out a new film each year. They're like, holy crap, like, how are they
I
like
know.
plowing through this stuff at the oh my god, especially like when you think about, nowadays, like not that the movies aren't hard to make still with computer
Mhm.
uh animation, but like hand drawn, my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere too that it takes 4 years to make a 2D animated hand-drawn movie, so it's like the time you're in college or in high school is how long it takes to make, like, Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King or something. That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of time. That's like twice as long as it would take to make any other normal movie, I feel like, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. No movie should take 4 years to make. It's
No,
not animated. No.
unless it's absolutely yeah, unless it's like, what is it? You know, like I feel like Scorsese tried to make that movie about the priest with Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver.
Silence.
Yeah, he tried to make that for like 13 years, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
it was okay. I don't really know if it was worth that long of a wait.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know that it is one of those that like was in development hell
Mhm.
for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
What
yeah,
which is crazy. I mean, some of those movies too, like, you know, you let them cook too long. It's just like, well, all right. I mean, you know, the hype is built up and it's just like, well, this could have came out at any time and it would have been okay. Or not come out at all, you know?
yeah. Wasn't that the same thing with? Was that also the thing with Coppola's film
Oh,
Megalopolis? Was that
oh god.
also?
I think so, because no
Yeah.
studio would touch it. He sold off part of his vineyards too to be able to finance that movie,
Yes.
which I'm just like, man, what a bad what a bad investment that was.
I know. I still haven't watched it. I'm waiting for an evening where I'm just like ready to dive
Yeah,
into that. Like just strap in,
yeah.
get a couple drinks.
Honestly, though, I saw it. It was. I think people are gonna probably think differently of it, like in 10 years from now. But like, I still am just like, this is batshit crazy. The cast was fine. I mean, everyone in it is good, but it's like, do we need to give like Shia LaBeouf and like John Voight work? You know what I mean? Like, we
Is
don't.
Shia LaBeouf in it?
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf.
Oh my god.
Aubrey Plaza's in it too. It's
I mean,
crazy.
I knew Adam Driver was in it. That's pretty much like all I remembered.
Adam
Wow.
Driver's on this weird tear right now, or I feel like he's doing all these like auteur filmmaker, like all these auteurs
Yeah.
films recently, but they're not none of them are that good. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Like where I feel like he's like the star. I don't think he's meant to be like a leading man in that sense. He's a character actor. I feel like, you
mhm.
know. So it's his
Because
career has been
clearly
interesting.
he's obviously very good.
Oh,
Uh,
he's
but
I love him. Yeah.
but there's obviously just I mean, and this is the case with many actors where there's
Hmm.
just certain things they are better at,
Yes.
uh, depending on where you put them in your movie.
Agreed. And I think Adam, I feel like, is just a better like supporting actor or like almost like a Steve Buscemi or Willem Dafoe kind of situation, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I mean, I would watch a movie with either of them starring in it as a leading
Right.
man, but I don't know how well that would translate to everyone else, you know?
Yeah. Or at least like a co-lead, like he was in
Yeah.
Marriage Story.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that and then he was in oh my god, I think Annette, like the movie about him and
I didn't see that. It looked good though.
it was good. It was oh my god. She played Talia al Ghul in the Dark
Oh,
Knight film.
Marion Cotillard.
Yeah, yeah. So they were co-leads again in that, and they have it's a musical where they have a daughter who's a doll, I guess, and very
Okay.
weird, but then really good. So like anytime he can kind of play off of someone, I feel like
Mhm.
is where I think he shines, you know, versus just being like the driving force where he might just be too weird. I love him though. So
Should we go back to Lion King?
yes, yes, I was gonna say,
Yes.
like, we really Adam Driver got his flowers,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
if I can shoehorn him or Timothy Chalamet or Harry Styles into any conversation on one of these, then that's a win for me. So Lion King, so do you still love this movie or is it just more of a nostalgia thing for you?
No, I do still love this movie. I haven't watched it in a little while, but it is also one of those things where it's like it's all up
Yeah.
here.
Oh, for sure.
But like I think it's still I mean it still looks really good.
Mhm.
The music is still really good. I think the story is still very good.
Mhm.
Uh and like I feel like when I look back at some Disney movies, it's like when someone asks what's your favorite Disney movie?
Right.
And it's sometimes it's hard because I am trying to look at them not just with an air of nostalgia. Because
Mhm.
I mean, when I was a kid, my favorite was Peter Pan.
Oh, yeah.
Like I watched that one, and I do still like it,
Mhm.
but there is stuff with that movie that I now realize is problematic,
Mhm.
and it makes it kind of harder to enjoy.
Yeah.
Uh, like for example, like I like you know I've read the book to my kid,
Mhm.
But when we watched the movie, I actually opted for the 2003 live action with
That one's
Jerry
awesome.
Stiller. It's wonderful and
It's so
like
good.
maybe not the absolute best representation you could have, but
Right.
like it cast actual indigenous actors
Mhm.
and the actress playing Tiger Lily. Uh I don't remember what her ancestry is, but she was
Mhm.
speaking the actual language for it. So it's
Mhm.
like they tried.
Yeah.
And at the very least, I think for that time, it was probably one of the better. Because otherwise, in all of the other adaptations, they either just cut them out completely.
Yeah, which is also not very good. I mean, it
No, which
also
is
doesn't
also not good.
it doesn't help anything.
But like when I'm looking at other Disney movies, it is kind of hard because like yeah, like I like this a lot when I was a kid. I don't know if it's still my favorite. I do think Lion King, like I wouldn't say it is my absolute favorite,
Mhm.
but it's up there. I do still really enjoy. It's one of those movies that kind of in the same way as Beauty and the Beast, where
Yeah.
it sort of legitimizes animation as a medium
Mhm.
because it's telling a story that is best told in the medium of animation
Mhm.
that uh, hits just as hard and does just as good of a job as another movie would in like live action.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
like it doesn't need to be made into a live action remake to legitimize how good it is. Like when they did the remake,
Mhm.
it's so hard to call it a live action remake because it's
I
like
know. It's
they're
still
it's
computers.
yeah
Yeah.
they didn't get an actual lion to
Yeah.
sing and dance. But I remember when I watched it, and yeah, I gone to the theater to see it, and people were asking me like, "How was it?" And I was like, "I mean, it was good," but that's because it's almost exactly the same.
Right.
Like even the opening Circle of Life, that was a shot for shot recreation
Mhm.
of the
Yeah.
original, which is why I was like, okay, but then why did we do that? Like
Right.
what? Like what? Like why? It was already amazing.
Mhm.
Like putting it into live action, quote unquote,
Right.
didn't necessarily make it better. And the story was pretty much the same. They didn't really change all that much. And granted, I've only watched it the one time. I haven't felt the need to go back to it.
No, there's no reason to.
There is it. I mean, there's some of the remakes that I thought they actually tried to do something interesting,
Mhm.
and this one they didn't really.
Yeah.
I like Seth Rogen as Pumbaa,
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Good choice for sure.
and I forget his name.
Oh,
Is
Billy Eichner as Timon.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
those
I mean,
2 were great comedy casting for
yeah, and
sure.
the cast was good mostly, and like James Earl Jones was Mufasa again, like,
Mhm.
and Hans Zimmer did the score again. Like it was still good, but it was also just like okay, but I could still watch the original, and it will be
Right.
just fine, if not better.
Yeah. I feel like too with that live action, I saw like a video, I think on TikTok or Instagram or something where they were comparing the shot for shot for both the animated Lion King and the live action quote unquote one. And I felt like it was a scene where Simba's about to get trampled, like kind of in the early and then when then just showing like the fear in his face. And it was so much more palpable in the animated version because it's like they were able to like really dial in on his face because he's not trying to be a really realistic lion. Like you see the like almost human eyes in him, that fear. Whereas like with the live action, you don't get that. It's just like, oh no, it's like you don't feel that like sense of urgency. And I think so. A lot of stuff is getting that. Yeah, I think something like Lion King is best told in an animated format, something like that, where there is so much emotion. I mean, yeah, it's talking animals, but it's like. I don't know. It makes it palatable for everybody because not everyone loves Shakespeare. So I feel like eh, I've not seen the live action one, so maybe I'm not the best person because I refuse to. I'm just like, there's no reason for me to see it. There's no reason for me. Also, I'm also just like always very iffy about Disney, even though like I grew up with Disney. Just even before everything going on, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. They're evil, but also they make good movies.
They do.
It is, and I mean, yeah, I mean, both picks tonight, I guess, are technically owned by Disney, so that's, as a lot of movies I've talked about with people are like their first movies are Disney movies. They really got in there. But anyway, so I just think that something to show like the emotion on these animals is better shown in even not even in 2D, because I feel like if they did like the Pixar computer animated computer generated animation, it just there's a coldness to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to kind of the specific scene you were talking about
Mhm.
with the stampede, because
Mhm.
I think the the scene in the movie that a lot of people tend to recall is the scene of the
Mhm.
stampede,
Yeah.
which is when Mufasa dies.
Mhm.
And uh, you see people post about it. It's almost become a meme about like people being like, "Oh yeah, like one day my kid's gonna have to watch that movie, and then they're gonna have to watch that scene, and they're gonna be sad about it." And it's like, "Yep, everyone's got to go through this." Uh,
Yeah.
but and everyone makes that joke. But yeah, I was thinking about it before we started recording today, and I was like, but they're kind of right, because dead parents are not an unusual thing in Disney movies, but it usually has happened before the movie starts or it happens off
Mhm.
screen.
Right, right, that's
Like,
true.
but like in this case, it's like, I mean, first of all, if you think for a young kid, a 3-year-old, if you will,
Yeah.
watching the stampede scene, it's intense.
Mhm.
I mean, the main character is in danger for the whole time.
Mhm.
His dad tries to help him, and like I think every little kid understands the idea of like, my parent is helping me. Like
Right.
they're the only one that can help me. And then to see your parent dies helping you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we see him fall, and
Mhm.
we see his dead body, and we see Simba try to wake him up. And
Yeah.
it's like, it actually really is very heartbreaking. Like you just finished this very intense scene that I
Mhm.
can see, I can imagine a child being very scared of in certain circumstances. And then to go from that to being like, and your dad is dead,
Yeah.
and your uncle wants you to believe it's your fault.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like it's a lot. It's a very heavy scene. Like, and I don't. It's the kind of thing that I don't. I'm sure someone could point out another movie that has done something like that from Disney, but I don't know if any of them hits the same way that does.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I feel like a trend that I've noticed too, just with these different episodes I've done, is that a lot of the movies that we grew up with, and maybe a little bit before our time as well, they didn't talk down to kids. You know what I mean? And something like that, like having taking a kid to go see Lion King and having to witness all of that, and kids are very perceptive and they absorb a lot of the emotion and what's going on. They may not have the words or the context for it, but the fact that movies back then weren't afraid to be like, no, we're going to show you like this is how it goes sometimes. And I think maybe another example that maybe like at least when I saw it anyway kind of had a similar but not quite as impactful was when I saw The Incredibles, and when the scene where they're like it's like towards the end of it where they're on Syndrome's island and the one of the bad guys just straight clocks Dash in the face. It's like, oh no, these people aren't afraid to beat up a kid. You know what I mean? Where I was just like, oh shit, like okay, like this man just punched a kid in the face. And I think that was one of those other scenes too where I'm like, oh, like this movie, thinking in retrospect, I'm like, oh, movies like that take kids seriously and they can handle this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Versus like I don't know, like whatever fifth Emoji movie is coming out now, I guess, is
Oh,
what kids have
jeez.
now. You know what I mean? Or whatever is coming out now. But it's like I feel like movies like that don't really don't movies don't really offer that kind of don't offer the kids the opportunity to explore that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like, and then people talk about comparing Disney movies and how they've changed, and especially I think the ones people often cite is that we don't a lot of Disney movies, like the villain isn't evil
Mhm.
anymore. I recently rewatched Moana with my kid,
Mhm.
which I love that movie. I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie. So it's brilliant. But there isn't really a villain. Like
No.
Like, I mean, they have Tomatoa,
The
the
crab, yeah.
shiny crayon, but it's like, oh yeah, Flight of the Concords is singing to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, but he's not really. He's an obstacle. Uh,
Mhm.
and the same thing is I don't remember, but it's like the giant fire monster that turns out to be Tafiti.
Oh,
Uh,
that's
and
right.
like, and again, it's like, oh, giant monster, but like, again, she wasn't evil. She just was upset because her heart was taken away. Uh,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think the last time there was a truly evil villain was like Hans in Frozen. Uh,
Yeah.
also, he was kind of just a dick, like
Honestly, like, he was just
not.
an inconvenience.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know that I'm sure there is a whole generation of kids that were absolutely shocked by the plot twist with him.
Mhm.
Uh, and but as for him as a character, I don't know if I mean, nothing compares to like I don't know, Frollo from Hunchback of Notre
Oh,
Dame,
he's like
or
king of the evil characters.
I mean,
Oh
I
god.
mean, the whole Renaissance is full of people that are
Yeah.
just
Scar I mean,
straight up bad, evil
Scar
people.
Scar is I mean, perfect evil character, you know? Yeah, 'cause I watch a lot of, like, YouTube commentary on, like, movies be like, a lot of just stuff about movies, and a lot of stuff that comes up is, like, Disney and, like, nostalgia stuff, and it's like, yeah, the twist villain and the misunderstood villain are all the rage now in all these movies, and some movies don't even have a villain, but it's like, man, like, also, like, I feel like the story can still be good if you don't have, like, a adversary, but also, like, it really just helps the story and also helps teach kids, like, I don't know, like, sometimes people suck, or sometimes sometimes they're just shitty and you're gonna meet some shitheads and it may be your own family that sucks, honestly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think I always think about that with Tangled because it's like your mother might
Yeah.
actually be an evil witch
Yeah.
who abducted you.
Yeah. You don't who gaslights you and who makes you think that this is the only place you can be. You just never know. But so I am curious because you like you mentioned you have a child. So have you been able to enjoy rewatching some of these like classic movies with your kid and does it feel like you're watching it through fresh eyes for the first time?
Sometimes I think most of the time I'm watching it just to see her reaction.
Mm,
Uh, and like, especially if it's like, I remember how I felt about this movie when I watched it. So I want to see how she feels, how she reacts to it. Um, she mostly likes to watch the newer Disney movies.
yeah.
I mean, she has had, I'm trying to think, she had a phase where she wanted to watch Little Mermaid uh, a lot. She
Yeah.
had a phase where she wanted to watch Cinderella a lot. Um, she watched Pocahontas for the first time this past summer.
Mhm.
It was actually really cool. She got a big art book for Pocahontas from the library. It was huge,
Yeah.
which is really cool. But like usually if we're like rewatching them, she's usually picking Moana or Frozen. Uh, but when we do sit down to watch the classics, um, it is interesting to kind of hear her commentary, especially from just like a very innocent perspective.
Yeah.
Uh, and like I remember watching Tarzan with her, which she really enjoyed because how could you not?
Oh,
Uh,
as a kid, as I mean, it's so
yeah,
fun.
yeah, and like kind of having a discussion with her about uh, Tarzan and how he feels, knowing that he's different
Mhm.
from everyone else. Or a real fun one was when we watched Mulan, and I kind of had to explain to her why it was dangerous for Mulan to be dressing up as a man.
Oh.
Because I say, like, well, like, it's two reasons because it's against the law. So
Mhm.
she can get in trouble for that. And she's also being a soldier, and soldiers go to war and they fight and they can die.
Mhm.
Uh, and just like having to explain that, I'm having these discussions with her about it after we've watched, and she'll ask me about it like ages after we've watched the movie. It'll be like 3 weeks later, and she's like, "Daddy, in Mulan, why did it like Mulan? Where's Mulan coming from? Like, what?" Uh, but it is, especially since a lot of these are movies that I haven't watched in a while.
Hmm.
I mean, I remember them all very well, especially the Renaissance era, but it is fun to watch them and just kind of sit next to her and be like,
Yeah.
looking at her the whole time, watching her react. Uh, and then, of course, she inevitably ends up asking for the music from my phone
Oh, yeah.
afterward.
That's awesome. I mean, I don't plan on having kids anytime at all, ever. Actually, not anytime soon. Definitely not anytime soon, but at all at any point. But that is something that I think would be so fun to be able to show your kids, like what you enjoyed growing up. Books and movies and all that stuff. And it's just being able to revisit that. It must be a lot of fun.
It is, and among those movies is also included Star Wars.
I was gonna say, like, shall we go into your
Yes.
second pick? It's your favorite movie. I gotta so here are the stats for everybody in case you don't in case you live under a rock and don't know what Star Wars is. So some people I know have never seen it, and I'm like, at this point, don't bother if it's been this long. But Star Wars: A New Hope, which was just called Star Wars when it first came out because they didn't know if they were gonna make more, came out in 1977, directed by George Lucas and starring Hollywood royalty at this point: Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill. I mean, all unknowns until that movie came out, honestly. But now you can't imagine them not being in the zeitgeist of like Hollywood at this point. Um, so Matt, why is this your favorite movie?
First of all, I'm also going to make the connection this shares with Lion King and that it shares James Earl Jones again.
It does. Oh my god, I don't know how I
Uh,
missed
his
that. Yeah,
his two most famous vocal roles, arguably
yeah,
two of his most famous roles in general,
yeah.
uh,
Honestly,
and also playing a father figure, although we didn't know that at the time of this movie.
right. Very different. Parenting styles take all types.
For sure. So I do remember watching Star Wars as a kid,
Hmm.
and I remember it being on TV, and I mean I was maybe 5, I think,
Hmm.
and then I remember my mom taking me to see it in the theater when they did the special edition re-release,
Oh yeah.
uh, and of course from there I was just absolutely hooked. That was like we went back to the theater for Empire Strikes Back,
Mhm.
and and I mean you talked to me, you know that I love
Oh,
Star Wars,
yeah.
and I'm even like a prequel and sequel apologist. Uh, yeah, I love it all. But like for being my favorite movie, my favorite Star Wars movie always kind of changed. For a long time, it was Return of the Jedi,
Mm,
and then it was Empire Strikes Back, just which like that's the one most people say
right.
is the best in general. But for a long time now, like it's been A New Hope. Um, and I think a lot of that comes from looking at this movie through so many different layers. I mean, there's the very basic layer of just it's a good movie.
Right.
Uh like it's a good I mean, it's part of the biggest franchise in the world.
Mhm.
Uh and hard to ignore that. But also just by itself, you can watch this movie and have it be the only Star Wars movie that you watch, and it's a satisfying watch.
Yeah.
Like it does like there's not a lot the only real unresolved uh, plot points are that Luke doesn't become a Jedi at
Mhm.
the end of the movie. He
Mhm.
just learns to use the Force, and that Darth Vader survives.
Mhm.
Those are really the only two things that are kind of left hanging. But like the rest of the time, I mean, it plays everything else perfectly. I mean, you have the farm boy who leaves home and achieves his destiny of becoming a hero. You have the rogue who doesn't care about anyone except himself, who comes back to save the day. You have the princess who's on her mission and is captured and then is rescued. And you have bad guys getting defeated in a huge explosion.
Yeah.
And they have a whole medal ceremony at the end.
Mhm.
Like it's perfect. It's perfect. But then there's of course the layer of looking at it as a fantasy movie. I mean, Obi-Wan is the wizard. Luke is the boy in the peaceful hamlet who gets whisked away on adventure. Darth Vader's the evil wizard with the princess in his fortress. Uh, and to that end, there's the fact that the movie has a lot of influence from Akira Kurosawa,
Hmm.
who George Lucas is a huge fan of, and particularly drew from the movie. I think it's called the Hidden Fortress or the Forbidden Fortress. I'm not sure which one, but it's kind of it got this thing where it's like these two guys wind up in this fortress with this general who's trying to save a princess. Uh, and and then there's also the layer of like the fact that this movie got made in the first place.
Dude, right?
As they like, if you're familiar at all with the behind the scenes of this movie, it's just astounding that the movie ever got made and that it ever was loved so much
Yeah.
when it came out. Uh, it's absolutely nuts that like I do not think anyone in that movie had any idea that it was ever going to be what it is today. Like, I don't know if they even thought it was going to be any good the first time around.
Right, and it's one of those things too where it was just so unprecedented. I wish I would have looked this up, but I don't remember when Jaws came out because I know similar reaction to when Star Wars came out. Just like where the term blockbuster came from. I think it was for Jaws, but also
Yes.
like Star Wars as well, where it's like people just they bought the ticket, they saw the movie, then they got back in line to see it again because they couldn't get enough of it. And I don't think anything really existed like that before. And it's like I'm pretty sure like Harrison Ford was still doing carpentry work before this movie came out, and like no, none of these actors had any idea that their lives were going to completely change. And it's, I rewatched A New Hope today, and it's still like the visuals. I mean, the story is incredible. I mean, I think that's the one thing that Star Wars genuinely, at least for the, well, I think all of them do story pretty well, but I think that's like always going to be the crux of it. But like the visuals, I think look pretty good still, especially that end scene where they're flying through at the very end. I'm like, this still looks pretty good to me. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't look so blatantly like outdated. It still just is kind of timeless in that way, like the technology and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars. What else? I mean, there's so much. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, of course. Like this movie has existed as long as we've been on Earth. Like Star Wars has been in the zeitgeist for us. And yeah, A New Hope is slept on because it is really yeah, like you said, a self-contained, kind of a perfect movie. It's a hero's journey, and it could have just if they just ended it at that and didn't make any more, it would have been a bummer. But also, like there could be a world where that was just made as a really good action sci-fi movie. You know what I mean?
No, but I was just going to say the because you were talking about like the visuals, and that's also something that I think about is that how well it's. Oh no, I remember now. Like you were talking about uh, the visuals and like how good they look still, and just like that's something that I also think about a lot. It's just like how good it all still looks
Hmm.
even after all this time. Like you can still sit down and like compared to like there are movies from like 20 years ago that don't look as good
Dude, I
as Star
know.
Wars somehow.
Yeah.
Miniatures, man, miniatures will just
Miniatures. I mean, I dare I say, and I am a prequels apologist too. I think people really shit on them because they wanted it to be something that it was never, it could never be built up in the way it was built up in their minds. You know what I mean? And I think people are angry about that. But I will say, I think some of the visuals in the prequels look a lot more dated than from the original trilogy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking,
yeah. I mean,
you know,
I do love in the prequels, like there is a lot of like large scale use of CGI, like
mhm,
for the world building, like when
yeah,
they go to different planets. That looks incredible. Like when they show Naboo
hmm,
in episode one
yeah,
and you see the city,
hmm,
that looks incredible.
yeah,
Or when you see Coruscant and it looks incredible. Uh, but I don't know, there's something about like the ships
yeah.
and especially like knowing that this was 1977 when like
Right.
the idea of doing something, making a movie that relied on stuff like this was preposterous. I mean, it almost didn't work.
Yeah.
They talked about how, like, at one point Lucas had showed up to the studio where they were supposed to be working on the ships, and like they didn't have like anything usable. They
Oh,
had like stuff was like half finished. They had these shots that were terrible, and he's just like, "Wow, okay, like I don't know what to do now."
yeah. But there is something to be said about being creative in a small space or having constraints on it, you know what I mean? Because I think, like, kinda talking like we talked a little bit earlier about, like, all these auteurs who are making these absolutely batshit crazy movies because they have a blank check from the studios, or they just have enough money and prestige to do what they want, and I feel like something like Star Wars is, all in, where it's or any kind of movie where it's like, okay, like, there's struggles, there's issues, we may be running out of money, is this gonna work? We don't know. Having that kind of like, that, like, uncertainty, I think adds an energy into the process and creativity that maybe isn't, like, that's where I think a little bit where I have some issues with the prequels where it's like, oh, George Lucas had all the money in the world. He was very interested in using computers for a lot of the stuff, so I think that's where some of it kind of fell flat, and maybe that's why some people don't love them as much. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he had all the money in the world, but he also just didn't. He kind of had too much control. I mean, if you think about, it, I
Mm,
mean, in the original trilogy, he only directed the first movie.
right. Oh, that's
The other
right.
two movies, the other two movies were different directors.
Mhm.
He also had uh, for the other for not for the first one, but for Empire and Jedi, he had Lawrence Kasdan
Mhm.
for screenplay because I love Lucas, but like his some of his dialogue is not
Yeah.
super. Like I know that's kind of I think that's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but it is true. It
Mhm.
is true that there are some parts that uh like if you look at behind the scenes and actors will talk about like I don't even know what I'm saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and they still have to somehow make it work.
Mm.
But like at least with that first one, like he was director and he had written the screenplay, but there was also things like when he went to edit the movie and realized like, my God, this is a mess. And he had his wife do it. His
That's
wife
right.
edited it, and like, and she had kind of edited it in a way that, uh, like didn't try to edit it to make it look like a specific kind of movie,
Mhm.
uh, but was doing it to kind of really put the focus on the strengths
Mhm.
and draw out the stuff that would be impactful in a movie to make up for any shortcomings kind of lurking in the wings.
That's so I knew that she edited it, but I didn't realize that was kind of the thought process because I mean, it is a movie that definitely plays to its strengths like to 100%. And where any little imperfections you don't really think about it. You don't notice it because everything else is just so good, you know?
My favorite little, because you watch enough times that you do catch mistakes. My
Mhm.
favorite mistake is the scene in the Death Star,
Mhm.
uh, and everyone's kind of split up, and R2D2 and C3PO are hiding out in the control room, and then the stormtroopers get the door open, and they all walk in, and there's one stormtrooper that bonks his head on the door,
Yeah.
and that's I love it so much, and I mean, I obviously didn't see that when I was a kid.
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
sure I'm sure most people don't see that on their first
Yeah.
couple of viewings. I mean, my wife didn't know it until I pointed it out to her, and then she was like, "Oh my god, how did that make it in?" And I'm like, "Because they're making mistakes left and right.
Right. That might have been the
They
only
just hide them very well."
That might have been the only shot too that they got that was like, "This is the best one that we can use," or like whatever, or just like, "Oh, we're running out of time, we'll just throw this in there, people won't notice." And I feel like too, like, up until I guess like the internet really took over, most people like there's a lot of like I'm not for Star Wars in particular, but like other like even TV shows that we grew up watching, there's a lot of plot holes and things that just were left and never resolved because it's like, oh well, it's gonna air once a week or this one time, and people will watch it at a certain time and they won't think about it ever again. You know what I mean? So I think there's a
Yeah,
little bit of that too.
yeah, for sure.
But
Uh,
I
go ahead.
I do want to share, and it's funny. This is the second time A New Hope has come up on this podcast too. But in the reverse, where it was my guess, it was his first movie he ever saw was A New Hope. He's a little bit older than us, and so that was like his that was it's fun to talk about it on both. Anyway, so I shared this fun fact, and I will find any reason to share this on here. Is that George Lucas approached David Lynch to direct Jedi? Did you know that?
I actually did hear
Yeah,
that he was one of the
I
choices,
figured. Yeah.
which is really funny since he went on to do Dune.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, I know that he would rather not remember that,
Oh,
but
I know. Oh, I know. I mean, it is funny, and the whole story, because I watched like an interview where David was talking about. He's like, "Yeah, my agent told me to go and talk to George." He did the whole interview, like, and he's like, "And I had this massive migraine the whole time, and George is trying to show me these miniatures, and I'm like, what is and then I guess in the interview he what he was saying, like when he was talking with George, like his migraine just got so bad he didn't have any medicine for it, so he just probably came off super disinterested, and he's like, yeah, I gotta go, I just gotta get out of here. So he left Lucas Ranch and just was like, and then he called his agent on the payphone being like, I don't think this is gonna work out.
I mean, it was probably for the best. I don't know that he would have been the best
Ooh,
match for that.
I don't think
And I
so.
mean, Jedi already at the time was considered inferior
Hmm.
to its predecessors.
For sure.
It's really funny. There was a time in Star Wars where the biggest controversy was Ewoks,
Yeah.
and now I think like Ewoks are way like I think the only people that are still mad about it are people who like grew up with
Hmm.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But like, uh, uh, it was they did talk about how I forget his name for the director for Return of the Jedi. It's like Richard something that starts with an M.
Hmm.
And they did kind of talk about how they had trouble sometimes with his particular brand and direction.
Mm,
Uh, which I don't know. I mean, I still think the film holds up very well. Obviously,
I think so too.
uh, like, I mean, I think the biggest thing, I think the biggest thing people take away is that like Empire was just so dark
Hmm.
and gritty compared to its predecessor, which is more of the typical fantasy story set in space. And the Return of the Jedi kind of has to wrap it all up,
Right.
and it's sort of it doesn't really go back to being as dark as Empire, but it's also not quite as fantasy like as A New Hope.
Hmm.
So it sits in this weird kind of area, and then you have the Ewoks. Which
Right.
I mean, I still think it's phenomenal, especially uh, you know the final lightsaber duels is extremely
Oh,
emotional,
yeah.
especially especially if obviously not back then when it came out, but if you watch it with the context from the prequels,
Hmm. Oh God.
it's even harder.
Dude, I mean, it's one of those things too. That I think Star Wars does such a great job where they can make battles and fights feel like the emotional weight behind it. Which that isn't always easy because there's a lot of moving parts, and everyone's moving really fast. But I always feel like Star Wars does a really good job of that. And yeah, Return of the Jedi had a lot stacked against it because I mean, you think about Empire and it had like that crazy twist that no one had seen in a movie. I don't think that had really been a thing, and now like we have Marvel and all that. Now they do that stuff all the time, whatever. But like, I Am Your Father, like that, no one was prepared for that.
You mentioned that I just remembered what I was going to say. You were
Yes.
right. I would. The thing that made me not like A New Hope as much as the other two originally was that Luke does not duel Darth Vader in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And of course, as a kid, I'm just like, dude, lightsabers.
Yeah.
Because my favorite thing was and still kind of is just sword fights in
Oh
movies.
yeah.
They're just so much fun. And I remember watching it and being like, but he didn't fight. They don't even meet
Yeah.
face to face. Uh, and so of course I was like, oh well, of course Empire or Jedi are better because he actually fights him.
Hmm.
But and as much as I love saber duels, I feel like that's not as big an issue
Hmm.
compared to the rest of how much I love the movie
Right.
itself. Uh, and everyone kind of talks about, oh, the one with old Obi-Wan and Vader is boring. I'm like, it's not boring. It's more like just kind of very old school Hollywood fencing.
Hmm.
You know, if you watch that, it's very much kind of modeled after the like swashbuckling kind
Hmm.
of sword fights from like the 30s or the
Yeah.
40s.
Yeah, because I feel like they were still figuring out, like, with it being the first one, it's like, they didn't know how popular it was gonna be, but also, like, figuring out, like, how do you wield a lightsaber? Like, how is that different than, like, fencing? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah,
So
and that evolved over time.
oh, for sure, and now it's like I've watched tutorials of people like, "This is how you actually properly fight with a lightsaber," like, on TikTok, and I mean, it's pretty cool. I have a couple of lightsabers in my own personal collection. I have tried that a few times, and it's
Yep.
like, it's just I think I need to get one of those really heavy, expensive ones, like, from Disney, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I need the weight. The other ones I have are just, like, plastic Halloween props, you know? Um
There are a lot of places that make them, and you can get them with different blades of
mhm.
different lengths and different strengths so that can actually really withstand some hitting.
I would love that. At some point, I would love to get, definitely definitely a lightsaber. I already have a couple of Harry Potter ones, from Wizarding World, and yeah, I mean, maybe a sword or two from Lord of the Rings, and that would just round out my nice
Hard
little.
to pass that up.
Yeah, I just think just kind of nice round out the home. You know what I mean? To have like a nice sword over the mantle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Who wouldn't want that?
Right? I bet you like a good Renaissance fair would probably have all that kind of stuff. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
for sure, absolutely.
But man, I mean, but a lightsaber definitely is on the docket at some point. When I have real money, whenever I get rich, I mean, you won't know I'm rich, but there will be signs. You know?
I spent like $500 on a real cool one.
Oh, wait. So what does it look like? I know this is an audio only podcast, too. So sorry, audience. You can describe it to us.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not really modeled exactly. It's not like a replica.
hmm
Like they make a lot of saber hilts that are replicas
Mm.
from the movies, but this one is like it's sort of modeled after like Luke's saber from Return of the Jedi or like Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. But uh it's like a big red button on it and it's like shiny and you can change the color to like 12, 15 different colors
hmm
and you download different they're called fonts, which are just the different sounds that it can make, and you can change which way. It's like, oh, this one is like Obi-Wan from
Yeah.
episode 3, this one is Kylo Ren,
hmm
and then you can get ones that are not Star Wars. Like I got one that's Thor's hammer,
That's
which is a
awesome.
lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm an adult. I could spend money on this if I want to.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, you work hard, you have a job, as long I mean, that's how I look at it. Your money is your money, so, I am curious, since you are such a Star Wars fan, is there a specific order that you like to watch all the movies? Do you do it in order they came out, or what is it called? The shotgun style is the other one?
The machete
Machete,
order
yes,
is
machete
the
order,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I do actually. So we've been showing the kid it in machete order.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
I just, I mean, I think there's something to be said for. I absolutely understand people who want to do like just the original trilogy,
Mhm,
just 4, 5, 6. Uh, and there's an absolutely good argument to be made for that. Because the biggest issue with the machete order for a young kid is Revenge of the Sith.
yeah,
Because that's a rough watch depending how old you are. I mean,
yeah,
uh, we haven't gotten there yet. She has watched 4, 5, 1 and 2,
mhm,
but we haven't pulled the trigger on Revenge of the Sith yet.
yeah,
But I do think I do really like the order because it does preserve. Because obviously, if you do one, start from episode one, first of all, I just don't think episode one is the best one to start with.
no.
Like, like, especially if you've never watched it before, it's just not the one that I would start with. I love episode one. Don't think you should start there when A New Hope is right there and it's perfect.
Mhm,
Uh, but you start with 4 and then 5, and then you get your like flashback, your extended flashback, and then you get the resolution with 6, but you still get the twist in Empire Strikes Back, and it all just works. It all just works very well.
I think so
But of
too.
course, there are people that don't care about the prequels and they just care about the original three,
Yeah.
and they do all that, and I totally get it.
Right. I mean, I don't know anyone who hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan. You know what I mean?
For sure,
I mean,
for sure.
it's kinda crazy where it's just like, you don't no one's forcing you to even, like, have an opinion on this stuff. Like, you don't have to if you hate it that much, you don't have to be part of this, you know what I mean?
No, well, that's what you hear nowadays. With it's crazy to me that yeah, we hear all this with the sequel
Mhm.
trilogy, and that there's people that grew up with the prequel movies, like
Mhm.
you and me,
Yeah.
uh, and defended them from the generation before.
Mhm.
Uh, and then the sequels came out and they started treating the sequels the same exact way, which like you're allowed to talk about what you don't like about the sequels. I
Yeah.
totally get it. There are like I still like them. I absolutely will tell you everything that is wrong
Oh, yeah.
in the sequels. But for someone else, that's their first Star Wars that they saw in theater. Like
Yeah.
for someone like they do love those characters. Like and that's what they remember when Force Awakens came out, and that was to them what like Phantom Menace was
Yeah.
uh, to others. And like
Yeah.
and yeah, and I don't want to. It's like you don't have to watch them if you don't want to.
Right.
But for someone else, they're important.
For sure, and tend to take that kind of road with that as well too. I think my issue with the sequel trilogy is that there's, I mean, the character development over the course of, I mean, I feel like with the, especially with the original trilogy and definitely with the prequel trilogy, like there is a lot of character development with our main characters, like they either per movie and also overall as an arc. And I feel like any bit of character development for our main characters, I feel like in the sequel trilogy is subtle. You know what I mean? I think maybe Kylo Ren has the most, but also then he fucking dies at the end, and it's like, well, we didn't even get a chance to see
Yeah,
him do that. You know, so like exist.
yeah, my biggest issues with the and I will start by saying that The Last Jedi might be like my second favorite Star Wars,
Oh, it's great.
which is a very controversial pick for some, but I don't care.
I loved
Uh,
it.
but but my two biggest issues with the sequel trilogy are that Kylo Ren died at the end. I think he should have lived
Hmm.
and had to like redeem himself.
Yes, I would have watched a whole other 3 movies
Yeah.
of that, you know what I mean? Because that's like
Uh,
a starting over, and it's that would be
or
that would be the hero's journey I wanna watch.
or he should have died just
Mhm.
unredeemed.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
like, and then my second thing is Finn. I think he just got shafted.
Me
Uh,
too.
and like and like not like first movie, he had some of the most unique trajectory
Mhm.
for any Star Wars character ever. And then second one, we kind of saw him really grapple with what it actually means to
Mhm.
be like a hero and also grapples with the weird kind of gray area of war where
Mhm.
even the supposed heroes do things that aren't great.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't get a lot in Rise of Skywalker. He kind of is just
Yeah.
there. Uh, I kind of really would have liked it if he had gotten to be a Jedi.
Dude.
If he had been training, if like he had been training.
Mhm.
But we didn't get that, and it's a shame because I feel like he could have been a lot more.
I agree. Yeah, because I mean, that would have really been like, I guess, like what I was kind of hoping for with those newer ones too, was to have like some sort of like redemption arc for any of those characters. And I feel like at the end, it's like you don't really. It's all kind of like, well, it is what it is. But yeah, like if Finn would have became a Jedi, I mean, going from a stormtrooper to a Jedi, that would have been a hell of an arc. Even if he wasn't the lead character in the movies, you know, there were definitely Ray's movies. But it would have been really cool just to see that. And yeah, like I feel like Kylo Ren dying at the end after being redeemed feels like a sneeze that never came out. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it's coming, and then it's just like there's no resolution. You know what I mean? It's just like I've been like,
Yes, yeah,
I've just been yeah, I've just been emotionally constipated since that movie came out. um,
understandable.
I just would have loved to have seen, because yeah, I feel like in the Last Jedi, you did get some context into why he became that way, and then by the time the third movie comes around, it's just like, well, I mean, I get the director, the whole whatever, you know, I would like to have seen one director stick with all three, whoever it was gonna be, you know what I mean? But I
Or
don't know.
at least have a better plan, but like they
I
had
know.
like the The Rise of Skywalker just kind of tried to backtrack
I
on some
know.
things, which is like, come on, dude. Like, if you had just like, people were always gonna be hard on these movies, and especially like, the Rise of Skywalker was never going to be without any criticism because
Mm,
it was supposed to be the end
yeah,
of the saga. So no matter what you did, but at the very least, you could have just not capitulated
dude.
to, oh my God, you had an Asian woman
Yes.
in your movie. And now we have to like give her a bit part because everyone was mad that she was in it.
Right, because I mean, Star Wars fans also pretty racist. I mean,
Imagine that.
and sexist, and they probably a lot of them, not you, but a lot of them probably smell bad. So, it is just what I mean, it all kind of goes together a little bit where it's like, I mean, I feel like I just can't, you think about any convention. I've gone to a handful of conventions and I'm just like, I can't stomach it past noon because it smells so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mr. Hamill, did you really use the Force?
Literally, like, oh my God. And it's like a 40-year-old man, you know what I mean? Dressed as Bart Simpson. So,
Oh my God.
but no, there's a lot to be left desired with those sequel movies. But I think overall, like, yeah, I don't hate them. I mean, I do hate the line somehow Palpatine returned. I'm like, come on, you're a writer.
I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
everyone makes fun of that line. Uh, and whether or not they could have had a better line is one thing, but I think people kind of are taking it out of context because it's like, no, they legitimately don't know how he returned. Like, it's true. Like,
Yeah,
they don't know.
yeah,
Like, could they have written a better line? Maybe. But
right.
like, I think people are like, oh yeah, this is just the movie providing a shortcut explanation.
Mm,
Which, like, no, it's not. It's like, why would the characters know?
that is true. That's
Like,
that's fair.
why would they know?
Yeah.
Uh, like if there's anything else that you want to criticize about the movie, like, absolutely. Also, it's really funny how people like will hate on the idea of Palpatine coming back, but then they're like, oh, the original expanded universe canon with the comics and the books before the sequels is better, but they did the exact same thing.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so
They did.
I feel like even with those sequels too, that they drew a lot from the expanded universe stuff. Like I think a lot of that kind of like like Han and Leia have a kid, and they kind of pull that from
Yes.
there, and I think that's where they get Ben and eventually Kylo. So I think there's a
Yeah.
lot that they pulled from those, and I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting, kind of seeing how they like we're going to go with it, and so I do like that was kind of their source material for it, but I still like them. I haven't watched them since I saw them in theaters. I mean, I saw The Force Awakens, I think 7 times in theaters, just with different groups of people. I was like, "Have you seen it
Hmm.
yet?" "Well, we gotta go." I mean, it made, like, over $1 billion. Part of that was my money, I'm sure. I definitely contributed to that. Definitely went to the midnight premiere. I mean, it was just fun, It's like, oh, a Star Wars movie in theaters, and it's like us as adults now that we get to go and enjoy that versus, like, all the re-releases were really cool and stuff, but to have a fresh new movie that we didn't already watch at home
Yes.
first, you know what I mean? Was
Yeah,
really
for sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, well, I have a couple more questions here, and then we'll call it a night because this is. I mean, we could talk
All
about
right.
this. Could be like an 8-hour podcast just talking about Star Wars. I mean, just Star Wars
Anytime
alone.
anytime I've ever done a podcast and then like ended up on the subject of Star Wars, it always is the kind of thing like we could do this the whole time.
Dude,
But
I know. I think Star Wars, especially with you and me, Star Wars and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, I think that we could just be in a loop for the rest of our lives just doing this.
I mean, Fellowship of the Ring was my other like candidate
Oh,
for
yeah.
favorite. It's funny. I have like what's your favorite movie? I'm like, okay, am I allowed to say Star Wars and Lord of the Rings? Like, okay,
Yeah.
then it's Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and then someone's like, okay, but you can't. And I'm like, oh, well then it's a fish called Wanda.
Oh, I have a friend who actually put that down. That's one of her movies that we're going to be doing later on too. So
Ah,
I'm excited.
that's awesome.
The,
Have you seen it?
it's been a really long time since I've seen it,
So
but
I love that movie. It still holds up. It's
good.
so fucking funny.
Oh, I'm so glad it holds up because I was like, I don't, all right,
It's
um,
still very good.
no, I'm stoked. Like that's part of why I did this podcast too. Is like I want to watch movies I either haven't seen in a long time or have never seen or wouldn't see for any other reason. So it's kind of selfishly, I'm like making my friends give me movie recommendations basically. But so we talked about this a little bit with James Earl Jones. But do you see any correlations between A New Hope and Lion King beyond that, beyond Disney and stuff too?
Just like the like parallels between the movies.
Yeah,
You
kind of.
mean?
Yeah, kind of like like any themes, or like how do you think, like why do you think the Lion King being the first movie you've ever seen, with it, maybe did that impact why Star Wars is your favorite movie now? You know what I mean?
I mean, it could. I mean, I think the biggest connection between the two is the concept of destiny,
Mm,
um, and because you have both at some point in both movies, the protagonist is reluctant to move forward because like Simba doesn't want, but they're coming from different places. Like for Simba, it's that he feels guilty about
mm,
his father's death,
mhm,
thinks that his is his fault still, uh, and doesn't want to go take the throne because he doesn't think he should. He doesn't. He's not wanted back there. Uh, and Luke, who doesn't want to go uh, save the princess with Obi-Wan because he's like, no, like that's not what I'm here for. Like
mm,
I'm supposed to be here on this farm. Like
yeah,
I that's not what I'm meant to do. Uh and then, they both kind of do realize that they they have to go.
yeah.
Like there are people counting on them to step up.
So how do you feel both these movies have impacted you as a person? And like how you kind of navigated life after seeing both these movies and having them both be kind of crucial parts of your life?
That I'm a giant fucking nerd. Uh, No, but, I mean, yes, that is true, but, I mean, I think the biggest I mean, for Lion King, I would say that, like, I think that set a certain standard
Mm,
for expectations from Disney movies just
mhm.
in terms of the themes and the music, um, and, like, any potential trauma I'm going to experience up to
Oh, kitty.
um, and I think also, especially as a writer, like I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing without both of them.
Yeah,
Mostly Star Wars.
yeah.
I mean, how many people have been influenced to do any kind of storytelling medium because of Star Wars?
Right, right.
But also, same thing with Lion King, uh, because I think Lion King, and I mean, I don't think I realized this until I was older, but Lion King, just as a way of like retelling a kind of story, which is kind of what Star Wars does as well.
Mhm,
Star Wars is a bit more of a general kind of idea because it's taking certain fantasy staples
mhm.
and putting them in a different setting, whereas uh, Lion King is the retelling of a classic Shakespeare story. Uh, and the idea of like, you can take a story that has been told before many, many times, but you can still do something new with it
Mhm.
because it's your version.
Yeah. Damn, that is true. I mean, because it is, like as an artist, as a creative, it is hard to be like, oh, well, what can I do that hasn't been done before, and then putting that in that context, like, yeah, like Star Wars was pulled from a bunch of different things. It's a classic hero's journey, it's like the 3 part, beginning, middle, end, and all that stuff, and same with Lion King too. So that's really beautiful. And then I have two more kind of rapid fire questions. So if you were to had the chance to recast both movies, I think that this would apply to both movies in its own way, with all the Muppets, but keep one regular character from each movie for both Lion King and A New Hope. Who would you keep as a regular person? Who are some of the Muppets you would cast?
Oh man, I love this question.
Isn't that fun?
Oh, I love this. Uh, I'm especially interested to hear what the person who watches a fish called Wanda says because I've thought about that before.
Yeah.
But anyway, not that episode. Uh, for Lion King, I don't know. Um, my instinct is to say Simba
Hmm.
should be the same, and everybody else should be Muppets. Uh, I just feel like it works well that way since, like, you see him as a kid and then he grows up, and to have
Right.
everybody else still be Muppets,
Yeah.
uh, I suppose you can make Nala still the same as well, but, like,
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Uh, for Star Wars? Oh, man. Uh, I think that is such a hard one. For Star Wars, I'm kinda waffling here. I would say Darth Vader. I think
Yeah.
having Darth Vader threatening Muppets the whole movie would be phenomenal.
Oh my god, I mean, that's the remake Disney needs to be doing. They own the Muppets. Why aren't they doing this stuff?
I mean, they used to do I mean, all the, like, Muppet Treasure Island and the Muppet Wizard of Oz,
Oh,
they've
that's
done it
right.
before. I don't know why they don't try to do it again. Like, it would be fantastic to see them try and do that with another classic story.
Right? Those should
Muppet
be
Christmas Carol?
yeah, those should be what they make the live action remakes with now, is like,
For sure.
don't animate it, don't do the computer generated stuff, like, just have the Muppets and then maybe have, like, Jason Segel or Tina Fey in there or something like that, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. Just throw someone in and I don't know if anyone's gonna beat Tim Curry.
Oh, I know.
Muppet Treasure I mean, love that man. Love that.
I do too. Although I love Michael Caine as well in A Christmas Carol, because
I mean,
he
they
plays
were
it so
both
seriously.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I mean, Michael Caine is treating the other Muppets like Shakespearean actors, and Tim Curry is acting like a Muppet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, man. I like that pick. I think yeah, I was like I was thinking the question to myself too. I'm like, who would I even choose? And I think my instinct for Lion King was keep Scar and then have the rest of them be Muppets.
I
But
mean, I think that's also I also consider that, and I think that would also be, uh, very appropriate,
yeah.
just because he's so pissed off the whole movie.
Right, right. He's so petulant. He's just and then it's like just being surrounded by like happy Muppets the whole time.
I also considered for Star Wars, like, if I could do a twofer, I would
Yeah.
say everyone is a Muppet except for R2-D2 and C-3PO,
Oh
and
my
they're the only 2 that are the same.
that would be awesome too. Oh my goodness. Just watch C3PO try to interact with a Muppet would just oh my goodness. That would be he's already so stressed out already.
I know, I know.
Poor guy. I mean, that's he's pure anxiety all the time. And then watch him having to deal with like Miss Piggy as Leia or something like that would be
Well,
hilarious.
because that's what it is, it's Kermit as Luke,
Yeah.
and, like, I don't know, I guess Fozzie is Chewie,
Yeah, I'd say
uh,
so.
and then I don't know, but yeah, Miss Piggy is absolutely Leia. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no other
With the little
that's what it is.
buns. Yeah. Oh god. And then finally, what is your favorite movie snack and drink, if you have one?
Let's see, I mean, I do like, usually when we go to the theater, I do like popcorn,
Mhm.
uh, but there are times where I very specifically want Sour Patch Kid watermelon.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, that sometimes, like, that's the one that hits
Mhm.
for me. And as for drink, I don't know. I mean, since I watch more movies, since I don't go out to the theater as much nowadays with the kid, I don't usually I'm drinking like kombucha
Yeah.
or something. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, there was a time where it's like I like don't drink soda at
Mhm.
all, but
Mhm.
I make an exception for the theater and I will get like a Sprite
Yeah.
or a vanilla Coke.
There's something about getting like a soda at the theater. I don't know, maybe because when we were kids, that's what we did. But I'm also I feel you. I don't drink soda either. But I'm like, oh, where I'm at the movies, so might as well. So I feel you on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, hey, you know what? Like we're here.
Right.
Might as well.
Yeah, we already spent $50 on tickets. Why don't we spend another $50 on
For sh-
snacks?
Exactly.
Well, Matt, this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on to Core Memory and being just the best and being yourself and being my friend. And I'm just so glad we got to do this. I really appreciate it.
And
Oh, sorry,
and
sorry.
thank you. Oh, go ahead. No, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, no, I'll cut that part out. So go ahead and say what you're going to say. Then I'll say something else.
And thank you so much for having me on. I mean, like I always thought this was such a cool idea, and I'm glad that you're getting this going. And I'm really happy that I got to be a part of it and just get to chat with you after such a long time.
Dude, same. I mean, yeah, I'm glad this is happening too. And speaking of just stuff going on, Matt, where can people find you and what do you got going on?
So I most recently had a short story published. It's a Weird West short story. It's actually a flash fiction, which means it's even a shorter short story, which was a third place winner in a Weird West flash fiction contest on the website Reach Your Apex. If you go to Matt Brown Writes on Instagram or mattbrownwrites.com, I've got links to every short story that's been published of mine, including that new one. You can go give it a read, and hopefully sometime in the near future, I'll have a book for you.
Yes. Oh my God. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for when your book comes out. And for all of your books to come out, because then we will definitely, I'll do a book review on here. Because it's like, and then it'll be made into a movie and Adam Driver will be the
Oh
star.
man, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
It's gonna happen, you're gonna get your book out, it'll get an option for a movie. I'll somehow make myself involved as someone who wants to work in film, and then we'll all be rich enough to buy as many lightsabers as we want.
Exactly. I will be front row and center for your movie.
Oh, dude, it'll one day it'll happen for both of us. It has to, that like destiny. It has to happen. So,
Yes, yes.
but dude, thank you again for coming on here. And yeah, that's our show. This has been Core Memory, a podcast about movies, and I'm your host, Cortney Warner. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Please feel free to like and subscribe on anywhere that you get your podcasts. Would absolutely love the support on there. If you enjoyed today's episode and any of our other episodes, also we are on Instagram at Core Memory Pod. Please feel free to give us a follow on there as well if you want any behind the scenes tidbits or any kind of fun visuals on there. And again, thank you for listening, and we hope that you'll listen again soon.